Hello everyone, this is Bruce Cohen. It's good to see everybody. I haven't done a video in a little while. Since Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg just passed in the last week, I figured I'd shoot the video from my tribute wall to Justice Ginsburg. Here we have a picture of the Supreme Court this is probably from about 22, 23 years ago. And she was kind enough to sign it for me here. Here's another picture of me back when I wore eyeglasses. With Justice Ginsburg, I was introducing her at a event in Washington, D.C. and got to meet her there. And here's a letter from 22 years ago, signed by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, where she invited me and my children to come meet her at the Supreme Court. That was 22 years ago, and we were very fortunate to keep in touch with Justice Ginsburg over the years. When my oldest daughter became a lawyer or passed the bar exam, Justice Ginsburg swore her in to be an attorney at the Supreme Court. And then on another occasion, my daughter came back to Washington and visited Justice Ginsburg in her office with two of her children, and she brought along her husband too. So we have all sorts of family photos with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a really wonderful woman who will be dearly missed. Today I'm talking about immigration, and during the pandemic, a lot of people have been wondering what's going on with immigration. We hear it's all been shut down. We hear that foreigners are not allowed into the United States. The embassies have shut down. And while a lot of that is true, at the end of the day, here in our office, we're just super busy doing immigration cases. And you might wonder, how's that even possible? I thought everything with immigration's been shut down. But the immigration process for many people begins with an application. And the fact of the matter is that the immigration offices are open for business to receive applications and to make decisions on them. Now, it could be that as someone goes through that process, if the final step in the process is you need to go to the U.S. Embassy in Paris or Tokyo or wherever to pick up your visa, yeah, that part of the process could be a problem because the embassies are just now beginning to reopen here during the pandemic. But a lot of embassies are still closed. They're only taking emergency cases. So getting an actual visa if you're outside the United States to come here can be quite a challenge. But for people that are already here, those cases are certainly being processed. For people who are abroad, they might have family members or a sponsoring employer over here. Those cases can still be filed. Some of them would typically take a year or two anyway. So by the time the processing of the paperwork is done in the U.S., hopefully the pandemic will be over, the embassies will be open, and the person who lives abroad would then be able to get their visa to come over here. So everything is still moving along in the immigration process, and our law firm is still here helping people, not only where our two offices are located in Florida and Texas, but we're here to help people all over the United States and all over the world. And we have clients all over the United States and all over the world. And so we're happy to take on more cases to work on that immigration process, and hopefully by the time all the paperwork gets done, the folks will be able to get their visas abroad, or they'll be able to visit their local immigration offices, which are generally open and generally processing cases, although way slower than they were previously. And I guess the last thing I'll talk about are the immigration courts. Most of the courts around the United States, the immigration courts have been closed. They're just starting now to slowly reopen. Some hearings are done by telephone, some by video. But for the most part, the deportation immigration courts that are located in downtowns and in buildings around the country, those have pretty much been shut down. So in terms of judges ordering people to be deported, unless they're actually detained, as they call it, meaning they're in jail being charged with deportation offenses. Unless they're in jail, those are the only cases that are actually being moved by the immigration courts. Regular cases of people that are out but are charged with being here unlawfully or with an expired visa, those cases have pretty much been shut down, and judges are not ordering people to be deported because they're not actually holding court. They are setting dates, but a lot of those dates get reset, and so the court never really takes place. So that's my update on immigration for the end of the third quarter of 2020, and hopefully I'll be back in the next month or two with another update.